the virtual walkthrough on a No Boundaries. We're gonna start in the back and just kind of work our way around as we go along. We'll start up in the top right there. That's pre-wired for a backup camera. Most of these pull power from those little marker lights up there. So the running lights on your truck need to be on. Let's turn the marker lights on, which will turn the camera on. It comes with a screen and it's wireless. It gets plugged into 12-volt outlet in your truck. This does have a ladder, so you can walk up on the roof. It is a walkable roof. Just mind you, be careful up there. You don't want to get hurt or fall or anything. You want to go up there every once in a while and inspect the rubber and all the sealant up there. After 90 days, any sealant is on you folks. That includes this and on the roof, because you're supposed to reseal it a couple times a year. That's part of regular maintenance. That's why they can't warranty it for a whole year. So keep in mind, you will have to do maintenance on this camper. Just some basic regular maintenance. We'll go into more of that. Right here's your bumper. These come off. That's going to be where you store your sewer hose. These do not come with a sewer hose. That will have to be something you purchase separately. There's different kinds of kits. There's all kinds of stuff you can get for sewer hose wise. Right here, notice that is a sticker. Any addition of non-factory installed components to the bumper is prohibited and may void your warranty. So don't be attaching extra stuff to this bumper, like permanently. Now I'm sure the bike racks that just U-bolt on would be fine, but don't put too much weight on the back of this bumper. Don't hang a crap ton of bikes off of it. These bumpers can twist if you hang too much weight off of them. This tire is like 30 pounds, so keep that in mind. Well, here's your shore cord. This is a 30 amp shore cord. Most places are 30 amp. You can see how long it is. It's quite long. That's going to be your power for 120, like your microwave, your AC, and your outlet. You're going to get all that from there. And then it just twists. This untwists. Give this a twist, the whole thing. It'll come out, twist it on, and you can twist this on. Keep it from getting unplugged. And perfect, you got 120. Right next to that is a cable and satellite input. So if you are going somewhere that provides cable, you can hook it through here. A lot of places do that anymore, but you still might be able to find one. If you have a satellite, a portable satellite, you can hook it into there too. Mind you, if you do that, you still have to have receivers for all your TVs. Here we go. This is where you're gonna dump everything, basically, all your valves and stuff. So here's your galley. That's like your kitchen sink and your like bathroom and whatnot. Gray tank. Then here's your black. It's your black tank. That's your black handle, gray handle. Gray tank is shower and sink water. Black tank is toilet water. So there's a cap on here. Always make sure that your handles are closed. So that's closed. And that one's closed. Before, take your cap off. You don't want to get a mess, I always recommend draining your black tank first when it's drained. And then when it's all the way empty, open up the gray tank, dump that out. That's going to flush out your sewer hose, so you don't have to carry it around with poop water. All four corners, you have these stabilizer jacks with access to the things. There'll be a crank in there for it. They're also 3/4 inch. A 3/4 inch socket will fit on that, and you can run those with a drill if you need to. Here you are equipped with a black tank flush, which is nice. So when you are dumping your black tank, a lot of the dump sites at campgrounds have a hose there. Hook a hose up to here, turn the hose on. There's a little sprayer built into the tank, kind of flush everything out, keep the smell from building up. I recommend using it every time. It's going to keep your sensors clear. It's going to keep the walls of your tank clean, because even though you dump your tank, there's still going to be some stuff left out on the walls, on the sides of the tank. So flushing it out is going to keep that from building a smell and eventually causing your sensors to give you false readings. So I recommend flushing it every time. Exhaust for your furnace. Obviously it gets hot. They make screens for these. They clip on. A little spring comes with a tool to hook the spring on and whatnot. Definitely recommend, especially if you live in or your site's full of insects, a high insect area. I have a camper. Our problem is bees nests getting in there and spiders making nests. So the screen's going to help insects from getting in there and making those nests. If you do see a nest in there, somehow gets in there, try to pick it out. Don't use compressed air. You'll just blow it further into the furnace, and then you might have more issues. This right here is an access panel to the back of your fridge. It's also part of the vent. Air comes in here, comes out there. Keeps the cooling unit cool. You want to make sure it's not gunked up with any debris in here too. Every once in a while, give these a quarter of a turn. Pop the panel off, and then wipe everything down back there. I use compressed air to kind of blow any dust or debris I see in there and clear it out. Pretty simple. Right here is your vent for your range hood. So when you're traveling and not using it, push it closed. When you use it, you just put it open. That gives somewhere for the actual fan to vent out the air too. Water heater, super simple these things are. Get your anode rod. So this is also your drain, drain plug. This material on it, you can see the center of it. There's a rod that goes all the way through this. Eventually this gray material on the outside, you're gonna see it's starting to look rough and aged and worn. That's okay. Eventually the material is gonna start falling off, which is also gonna happen. When you have about 25% of the material remaining, get a new one. It lasts you a couple seasons, so you don't have to get a new one anytime it starts looking gross. It's absorbing any impurities and minerals and whatnot from the water, because this is a glass-lined steel tank instead of an aluminum one. So like $20, so maybe once every 2 or 3 years you have to get you a new one. 1 1/16 is the socket size for this. Goes in right there, put it in there. Get it started by hand, snug it down with a socket. Don't over tighten it. Then you could start filling it. As soon as your the plug's in, you're good to go. This has been winterized, so you will have to take it out of bypass. We'll kind of quickly explain that when we go inside. But in normal use, as soon as you hook up water and it's not in bypass, this will start filling. I usually wait until it's pretty full to turn it on, just to make sure the water line's above where the element is and where the burner is, so it's not running dry. Speaking of element, this is electric. Do have a switch for it down there, so that's how you're going to turn on and off electric. Your other controls for it are on the inside, and we'll show you more on the inside. This is a 6-gallon water heater, so you have 6 gallons of hot water. I always recommend whoever likes to take the hotter showers should go first. They are going to use all your hot water, but if they want hot water, there it is. The recovery time's quick, 15-20 minutes and you got hot water again. Fresh fill, so this will have an onboard tank. We never get a spec sheet, so we don't know for sure, but they're usually around like high 30s to low 50s capacity-wise, gallons. So you're going to open this, rest your hose in there, don't jam it in there, rest it in there, and start filling. There are monitors on the inside that tell you when it's full. When it reaches full, stop. Don't wait till you hear water gushing out everywhere. It's just not good. Right below that is a city water connection. So if you're going to a site that does provide water, that's what you're going to use 90% of the time. Unless you are planning on, he's got knobby tires, taking it off-road and living off your water on board, which you can do too. We'll go into more of that. When you go on the inside, you do need to have your pump on to pull water from the fresh tank. When you are using your city water, you don't need that on your pump. It will operate off of your city water pressure. A lot of campgrounds, a lot of places have higher pressure water, and I do recommend a water pressure regulator. You can purchase them here; they're pretty cheap. Screw that on here, screw that on your hose. It's going to keep it from being overpressurized if there's a lot of pressure coming out of the hoses. Right there, there's a little cap right there. That's your drain for the fresh tank. So that's where that water is filling. You got to drain it. I recommend draining it after every trip, because some people don't, you don't know when the next time you're going to go is, and you don't want that water sitting in there for weeks. It'll start to get stagnant, and it's really hard to get that smell out. So please keep that in mind. But here we got some extra stuff. See if I can't crawl in here. We won't be able to put this together because it's just me recording, and I don't have a bunch of hands. But you got, let's see what this is. Quick mount leg set 4. Let's see. Rhino rack. These Nobos are pretty new to us, and this is my first time seeing this particular one, but I got some experience with them. You guys will just have to quickly read through the instructions to see what they are, but it looks like something for tie downs. Rhino rack, tying down equipment and stuff. Some of these have roof racks on it. This could very well be for that. We'll see more. We'll take a peek up on the roof. You have a little table thing. then a grill mount and a grill. We'll go more on the other side of that, show you where that goes. And then we'll kind of squeeze my way out of here. Go. Right here is your data plate. It's got a lot of good information here. Has your VIN if you ever need to reference it, make, model, data manufacturer, all that. The most important numbers I like to tell people are, so not a lot of these trailers have the dry weight equipped on it. This one does right here. It's dry weight right here. It's in kilograms. Then you do that, multiply that number right there, 1897 by 2.2, and you get the dry weight of the trailer. Right here you have the gross vehicle weight rating, 3,425 pounds. That is the max weight of the trailer. So that's not the dry weight, that's the most it'll ever weigh. So keep that in mind. Yep. Well, it could be wrong. You have a cargo carrying capacity of 1,384 kilograms, so 3,351 pounds. Not a lot of people have literally a ton of stuff to carry around, so you guys probably will never reach that. And then a couple of other important things is I think tire pressure is very important. So these are 65 psi. That's what you want to check them to. Sometimes the tires say something different. Go off of what that says. I always recommend buying one of those little cheap tire pressure gauges and at least checking them before every trip. Last thing you guys want is a blowout. That can be pretty aggressive to the siding and all that of your camper. So just check that every once in a while and you guys should be good. Right here, you get your 7-way. That's a convenient carrying spot for it. Push this in. When you're not using it, twist it. Keeps it locked in there. This is going to get plugged into your truck. That's what's going to allow the trailer brakes, lights, turn signals. That's going to allow that to work. If you do not have a brake controller, your brakes won't work. And unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to let you take possession of this camper because by law, any trailer over 2,000 pounds, that weighs over 2,000 pounds, which this thing definitely weighs over 2,000 pounds, is required to have brakes. So it's a liability thing. We couldn't let you leave with that. Now, if you're seeing this video, you've probably already took possession of the camper, and it's not an issue, but always like to make sure it's informative. One of those other jacks here, there's also another one on the other side, and then this is a battery disconnect. These are nice to have. So if you're in between trips at home and you just, you don't have any way to really plug it in at home, disconnect your battery. Just turn it off. It's going to keep anything from drawing voltage from your battery. If in this case you accidentally left the light on, or your radio memory is always using a little bit of voltage, and your LP alarm is always using some voltage too. So that's going to disconnect that. Here we go. Dry weight right there. 4,182 pounds. Sorry to distract that right there. So that's how this trailer weighs as it sits. And another VIN plate. So speaking of batteries, here's your battery right here. Just come off. Got your leads on there. In the winter, I recommend taking your battery out. So just disconnect them, pull the battery completely out, put it somewhere safe. Got your battery strapped. We'll make sure it's strapped down. So we'll get that out for you. Let's get strapped down. And that is enough to hold it in. The box is screwed down, so it's not going to go anywhere. This is just to hold the lid on. Propane, you can get access from up top. So it's actually easier to show you by taking it off. Nope, to take this off, you have to unscrew this. So we'll just kind of leave it on. There's your regulator in there. Not much you have to do with that. Reach in here. I'm used to 2 tanks. This one only has 1. Reach in here, turn it on when you're using it, turn it off when you're not. Righty-tighty is off, lefty-loosey is on. It says it right here. Please, it's all the way open or all the way closed. There's no in between to save propane. It doesn't work. All the way open or all the way closed. Here. Each propane is measured pressure by inches on the water column, and every appliance has a specific pressure it needs to operate at. So if you don't have your tanks all the way open, stuff's not going to work. So don't do that thinking you're going to save some propane. A lot of customers are confused about that. Light here, actually, it's not bright now, but at night it really helps hooking up at the dark, especially since you don't want to slam into that at night. Do have a powered tongue jack. That beats hand cranking these things, trust me. You're going to use your power tongue jack to level your camper front to back. Don't use those to pick up the weight of the trailer. You will bend them, and if you bend them, that is not warrantable. So just keep that in mind, because these things just don't bend for no reason. Use this to level front to back. If you're really worried about side to side as you back it into the site, some blocks, they do make specific blocks, so if you have some scrap 2x12s, that works too. Back the low side onto some blocks to get it level side to side. Then you're going to run all these jacks, snug them down. It's going to get all the shake and shimmy out of everything. I always recommend blocks underneath these because you can tell the pads on these are pretty small, and if your site's grass or gravel, they will sink in the loose gravel. So pads help spread the weight out. Back to your tongue jack. There's a spot for manual backup. It's kind of hard to see back in there. I'll show you where the crank is for that. Just in case the power were to fail and you need to manually do it, you can. Chains, you got chains right here. When you hook it up, you're going to cross them. So the chain on the passenger side of the camper goes on the driver's side of the truck. Vice versa, that's going to create a cradle. So if your hitch comes undone from your truck, it'll kind of catch it. And that's why you cross them. That's your trailer breakaway. So this will get hooked up. Usually I snake it through the chain and hook it onto this. I recommend getting a carabiner and doing it separately. We only do that when we're doing hitch work and we don't have just carabiners to give away. So I like hooking it up separate to make sure it will get pulled. If something would happen to the chain or this gets caught, you don't want it to get pulled accidentally. Speaking of getting it pulled accidentally, this is what's going to come out. There's a pin in here that pulls out, this plastic pin in there. If that pulls out, it's going to lock up the brakes on the trailer, keep your trailer from rolling into traffic or slamming into the back of you. This is something I always recommend, just a quick peek, make sure it's in before you tow it, because you never know what happens. If you got kids, I've seen it, this hanging down, a kid's running, trips over it, pulls it out, parents don't catch it, kid doesn't catch it, they start towing it, they wonder, why do my brakes smell funny? Because they were on the whole time. So keep that in mind, always make sure that you check that. It's rare that it happens, but you don't want to be the one person it happens to every once in a while. Right here, you got a sprayer. It's a quick disconnect and then, and which is nice, this one actually gave you a sprayer. Sometimes they don't give you the head, which is nice. And then you have a crank in here. Here's your crank for your steps. Not your steps, but those jacks. And the tongue jack might even have a smaller crank buried in there. But that's what that's for. So, yep. Or you can use a 3/4 inch socket on a drill to run these too. Speaking of that sprayer, let me show you where it quick disconnects. And that's right here. Like an air hose. It even says it right here. Spray, port. So, it'll just be cold water. But that's good if you were playing in the beach or in the mud or doing whatever. Spray your feet off. If you have dogs or kids, they got all muddy, spray them off with it too. It's perfect for that. This rail right here, this is where that table thing's gonna hook on. It just kind of hooks on or slides on and has a support that folds out and rests here. That's gonna hold the weight of the table. Or the grill goes up there, I believe. I could be wrong because your LP quick disconnect is down here, but it does look like they give you a pretty sizable length hose. And then, speaking of LP quick disconnect, it's right here. Works just like an air fight, like the other one. And then this to open the valve to let propane through. When you do have it open, you can't disconnect it. That's a safety feature. Make sure you close the valve, then disconnect it. You do have outdoor outlet GFCI protected. All your GFCIs are on the same circuit. If you would have tripped this outlet, all the connected ones are going to go as well. Right here, access to your bunk. So, you have USB ports, lights. It does fold up this way and latch closed. Gives you extra spot to store taller stuff in here that you can take out when you're ready to have people sleep in here. And then there may be a sticker on the inside indicating weight capacity, so we'll tell you that when we get in. And then right here you can see it's ready to upgrade for Wi-Fi. So it doesn't have Wi-Fi, but it's equipped to be upgraded to it. All right. So a few more things on the outside. I've explained the sealant. Your roof, I've explained that. The sealant on the roof is only warranted for 90 days through us. After that, it's on you to take care of it. And that includes any damage caused by not being sealed. That would be on you folks. Now sometimes warranty is a little forgiving, so I'll explain the warranty the best I can. I'm not really well versed in how the warranty works, especially since they changed a lot. But the roof is usually its own warranty. The only way to keep the warranty on your roof is proof of regular maintenance. Regular maintenance includes, like I said, spot sealing it. Check that. If you see gaps in your sealant on the roof, it wasn't hurt. I always recommend to take some pictures before you seal it and after, and note it in a little notepad or something. Keep your receipts if you buy the sealant. Make sure you keep those. If you get any roof work done, keep receipts. Ask for copies of the pictures if you need to or want to, but they will be on file for warranty. And then once a year, I definitely recommend getting what's called a rubber roof preventative maintenance. That's what a lot of your maintenance will be. It'll be all preventative maintenance. The rubber roof maintenance involves us. We just clean it with a deck mop, not a mop, but like a scrub brush. Let's see if I can find an example. Something that looks similar to this, a little bit more stiff bristles, and with a special cleaner. They do make a special cleaner for it. We use. Scrub that clean, let that dry off, and then we use a sponge mop to roll on a UV protectant, and that's going to keep the rubber from drying out. The rubber does like to dry out if you do store it in the sun a lot. So please keep that in mind. Definitely recommend doing that once a year. Once every 1 or 2 years you can get away with. Do keep in mind, if you wait like 5 years to finally get it done and the roof is filthy, it will not go back to how clean it was when you first bought it. That's why I recommend doing it every year to keep it looking in tip-top shape. And then if you do get that service done, especially through us, while we're up there, we'll note, hey, this guy needs like a half-hour spot seal. They'll call you, ask you if you'd let us do it, and pay us to do it, and then that's gonna help do that preventative maintenance. That's gonna keep the warranty on your roof. You get all that paperwork done and filled out, keep it on file. Let's say 6 years down the line, you notice a huge tear in the roof, but you've been doing it every 90 days, your maintenance. You'd be like, hey, there's a problem here. Warranty should cover it, because not 6 years, but it's a 5-year warranty. But it'll keep you covered. Preventative maintenance, that's all you really need to do. A lot of people don't do that. So please keep that in mind. We're actually gonna come inside now. So I got a couple of controls up here. Your awning controls. It is nice to have a power awning. Please have your door halfway open. It's on what's called a friction hinge, so it stays where you leave it, because the awning will hit your door. This power, it does not stop automatically when it reaches its fully extended position. You're gonna have to let go of the switch. When it does, unfortunately, we won't be able to go all the way open due to the wall being there. But you know when it's all the way open, because you'll see the bare metal tube. It's black, and then the flap will hang down. Sometimes you have to roll it in and then back it out again to get the flap to go down. But you'll see the bare metal tube. There'll be a sticker in that corner. Once that's all visible, you're all the way open. The only thing that'll happen is if you hold extend too long, is that eventually it'll roll back in, but it'll wrap the fabric the wrong way around the tube. They are adjustable for pitch, so if you're just raining a little bit, you can grab here, pitch down the awning. It's kind of hard to do when it's not all the way extended, but it'll lower one end and you can have water run off to the corner rather than all the way along the side. If it is getting really windy, roll it up. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm saying 15, 20 plus mile an hour, roll it in. If the wind bends it, it's not warrantable. These awning arms generally don't bend or break for no reason. So if it's windy or gusty, roll it in. Don't take the risk. You'd rather not have to pay to get them replaced. And then the other tip is, if you roll it in wet because it was raining, as soon as you get the chance to, sunny and nice out, roll it back out, let the water dry off. Do you have LEDs on the awning, which is nice and bright at night. You do have a porch light, which is also very bright. Interior lights on and off from here. You do have USB ports. This light right here, I do believe this might be your Wi-Fi switch, because I don't see any lights getting turned on or anything like that. So could be your switch for your Wi-Fi. That's pre-wired, but remember, it doesn't actually have it. Coming over to here, actually, you know, over here. This, I believe, is just a mount and some extra tools for a speaker, a JBL speaker. If you wanted to have one in here, you could. But Again, I could be wrong, but JBL is a speaker company, and that's my best prediction for that. Again, this doesn't come with it. A lot of these new style campers come pre-equipped with a bunch of stuff, but then you have to purchase it all separately. But I do like these No Bows. They have a lot of cool features that we're going to get into right now, actually. So, this has got, should be pre-wired or equipped with an inverter. So this is pre-wired, I believe, for an inverter, but let me double check. Yeah, I do believe it's just pre-wired because they normally turn on. Yep, could be just pre-wired with one. Cubby there, light switch there, turned on lights in both of these cubbies. Help you see in there, they're pretty deep too. Put some tall things, some longer clothes if you need to. More USB ports. Here's your main GFCI. If any GFCI trips, this is the one you're going to hit reset on to reset it. There's another GFCI outlet there. This is a Murphy bed, so you just move these cushions out of the way. This couch is a jackknife couch. You can lift it up. You do have storage underneath there. Oh, so this doesn't have an inverter. It's on. I can tell it's on. It's right underneath there. The inverter is, it's the opposite of a converter, so it's changing 12 volt into 120. Usually these inverters are usually equipped for a few outlets and some appliances, so these No Bows are really meant for like rugged off-road camping. So the inverter is going to help you use some of your appliances that you wouldn't normally use off your battery. Now keep that in mind. Running your outlets and stuff now off an inverter will drain your battery, and it does pretty quickly. That's why I recommend any solar panels. You can buy the solar panels that just kind of tie into your battery. If you are going to go the option of rugged off-road camping, use some solar panels to keep that charge in the battery. Go down again. This has spring-loaded. I like when they're spring-loaded. Pull this down. Just kind of lays on top of there. Boom. It's doubled the bed size, basically. Shelves on either side, some cubbies down there, lights on either side, a nice big window, some blinds. That's why I really like these No Bows. They make the most out of the space. And then come to the side. It's kind of harder to do while filming, so then you don't even have to do that. It pushes by itself. Grab it underneath here, lift up, push in. Grab your pillars. Come on there. There. Boom. Super simple. Another USB outlet here. Another GSI outlet here. Do have a TV here on a swivel mount. Make sure when you travel, you do retain it so it doesn't fly off somewhere. Cable here. If you are using antenna, make sure this light is on. If you're using cable, turn it off. There's a button back here. That's your booster. This is a 12 volt TV, which is nice. So you can watch your TV without being plugged in, which is nice. Sink. Removable cover. This is a similar material to a cutting board, so if you opt to use it as one, you can. Another outlet here. Microwave. Again, I'm not quite sure what appliances run off the inverter, but microwaves generally you need to be plugged in to use. They do dry a lot of amperages, and it would drain your battery. Right underneath here, you got this neat feature right here. So if you're sweeping up dirt, you got a broom, sweep, 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 come into this corner, lift it up, it's going to suck all the dirt in through here, and put it in the built-in vacuum cleaner that you got. That, I think, is super cool. I think houses should have that too. That's really neat. Open this up. You can also hook a hose to here and turn it on from here and run it from there. When you want to change your bags, pull this tab over like that. Open this up. There's the bags in there. I do believe you can purchase the bags online or through us. Just look to this company right here. Right next to that is your breaker box. This is going to have all of your breakers for your 120 stuff. All of your fuses for your 12 volts. You have a 40, a 30, some 15s, and what looks like a 7.5. I recommend buying an assorted fuse kit, leaving it in here just in case, something could happen. And you can replace the fuse so you're not stuck without your water pump working or all your lights gone. So I always recommend carrying some spare fuses. Plenty of storage across the board here. On here. Here's your monitoring panel. So this is how you turn your water heater on. If you turn it on through here, it'll be gas. See that fault light right here? When it lights in a successful lighting, this light will turn off. If it fails to turn off, something could happen. Either your water heater isn't working, or most likely you had just turned the gas on and it hasn't reached the water heater yet. And that were the case, like I said, that's the most common thing that'll happen. Turn it off. Try to get your stovetop to light, which we'll get to in a minute. Once you get it to light, it should have drawn enough propane through the lines for you to be able to turn the water heater on. Water pump. So if you are going to pull water from the onboard fresh tank, you turn the pump on and off from here. Once you turn it on, the system will pressurize and then shut itself off. And then anytime you open a fixture, you can hear the pump kick back on again. Do have holding tanks heaters, which is nice. That's why I like these No Bows. They're really meant for being used, you know, in the winter, summer, fall, spring, whatever, meant to be used. So there's heating pads stuck to the bottom of each tank, fresh, gray, and black. Turn those on, make sure you do have something in there. That's going to keep those from being frozen. So if you don't want that poop water or gray water to freeze and you want to use it in the winter, turn those on. That's what they're meant for. Right here, you have your thermostat, super simple to use. The big bar is like your main mode selection, basically, from on to off. It's all here. So off when you first turn it on. You're going to be fan low or high. Fan is just going to run the fan on the AC, so it's not going to turn the compressor on. It's just going to circulate air through here. Turn it on one more time. Now you're on cool, high, low, low auto, high auto. I recommend either low or high auto. That's going to allow the compressor on your AC, you just heard it kick on, well, hopefully you can hear it, cycle on and off at your set temperature. You have it set to 64 like it is now. Once it reaches 64, the compressor will shut off. And then it'll cycle on and off to help regulate that temperature. If you just had it running on cool, high, or low, but not auto, it will continue to run even after it's reached its set temperature. It'll run and run and run until eventually it freezes up. Then it'll shut itself off. Then you have to wait for it to thaw out. That's why I recommend using auto. Hit it one more time. Now you're in heat. Heat's going to be the furnace. Furnace is propane. You need the propane on to run the heat. Heat will go all the way up to 99 on this thing, I believe. But it will never get that hot in here. No, you'll have heat loss. The furnace will keep running to try to get it to that temperature, and you just waste all your propane. I always like running my heat at a solid like 77, 80. Don't like it too hot, but it's up to you guys. You can do whatever you want. And then turn it off. That turns it off, and eventually this will go blank. Kind of go back to here. Super simple. Turn it to light. Get a match. Barbecue lighter, whatever, hold it like that. You don't have to push it down or anything, just turn it to light. Light it right up. You just turn the gas on, obviously it's going to take a little while to light. Simple. No electrical components that could fail. It's nice. Light. Fan. Remember what I said, if you're going to run that fan, to have that flap on the outside open so it actually has somewhere to vent to. Refrigerator, super simple. If this is off now, that's on. It's on auto. Now it's on gas. I recommend leaving it on auto. Auto is going to allow it to, it defaults to 110, so if you're plugged in, that's what it wants to use. If you were to lose power somehow, campground to lose power, someone accidentally unplug you, it will switch to running off of propane, provided your propane be on. Now, this works completely different than a regular household refrigerator. It works in a different process. It works through what's called an absorption process. And it basically, instead of cooling it down in here, it's extracting all the heat. And in the absence of heat, there's cold, and that's how this works out. So, it takes about 8 to 10 hours, depending on conditions outside, for this to get cold. So if you can, plug it in the night before at home, let it get cold, and then unplug it. It'll switch to gas. It'll be running on gas as you drive to the campground. That way it's already ready when you get to the campground. Right down here, that is a carbon monoxide and propane gas alarm that is hardwired to the 12-volt system, so this has no batteries you have to worry about changing. There are two different noises you hear out of this. You hear an alarm, which it'll sound obviously like an alarm, or it'll start chirping. Chirp, chirp. That were the case, it usually only ever does that if the camper's unplugged and you come whip it out of storage. The battery up front, the one I was showing you by the tongue jack and whatnot, that means that battery's starting to die. Since it's hardwired to the 12-volt system, it's saying it doesn't have enough voltage to operate correctly. That was the case, get the camper plugged in. The battery does charge when it's plugged in. Let that battery get a charge and you should have no issues with that. As far as other safety appliances, you have a smoke alarm right up there. Standard, 9-volt battery, whatnot. Then you have a fire extinguisher right there. A fire extinguisher, smoke alarm, and the LP detector all have a 10-year lifespan. Regardless of how many times they've alarmed, if they've never alarmed, in 10 years, if you still own this camper and haven't upgraded, you want to replace that, you want to replace that, and you want to replace that. And then propane tanks also expire in 10 years. Just because they could be full and expired, you could still use them, you just can't get them refilled. You can get them recertified, and that's good for another 5 years. A lot of people just go to the gas station instead of getting their tanks filled, get them exchanged. You probably get it, you don't have to worry about it expiring because you're getting almost new tanks every time. We're going to come into the bathroom here. There's not a whole heck of a lot in here. But, so, hold on, we'll go into more of this in the future. Toilet, foot pedal here. This is what I'm going to show you later. This is your shower. So it just kind of magnets closed, kind of open it, grab it, push it aside, and you got your shower right here. Yeah, pretty simple. Come up here. Very simple. Light switch here. Do have a fan here. Turn it on and off here. You do have to be, not this one. And then pull this down to open it. It's actually lefty, loosey to open, righty to close. Then you have fan speeds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then fan off right here. Sink, pretty self-explanatory. Right here, this is your solar. This is your solar monitoring panel right here, basically. There's not really much you do. I mean, you can just tell you its amp voltage. Right now, it's telling me the battery is 13.3 volts. That's the voltage you'll be when you're charging, whether from solar or whatnot. It's flashing solar, so it's telling me that we're not getting a solar charge. We are inside. They're not really good with the things. This may or may not have panels on it. Like I said, this is one of my first times I'm seeing this particular trailer. But I'll hop up on the ladder and show you guys the roof to see. But usually this means it's not, the solar is not reaching it. But these Novos usually do have solar panels on them. So, kind of learning together, but I really do like these Novos. I hope you guys like it too. So that's pretty much it for the bathroom. There's another outlet in here. Again, this will be a GFCI outlet, so if it does trip, you set it on that one over there. Pretty much, I mean, this right there, that's where your heat for your furnace comes off of, so don't put anything in front of it. People think, oh, that's so small. It will get it roasting in here. Trust me. Here, you can close these right here. That's going to prevent air from coming out the sides. Close it off. And it'll, help you direct the airflow up, down, whatnot. And then here, them's all your manuals. All the manuals are all in there. Books and all that. Doesn't hurt to read through that when you get some spare time at the campground. Oh yeah, well that's pretty much it for the ends. Oh, a few more things. This does turn into a bed. Pop the table off, remove the legs, set them aside. This will rest on here. Then put the table on there. Reorganize your cushions. It creates a platform to sleep on. Back here is access to the water heater. You're gonna move these screws. There'll be some valves. Turn them each in their opposite direction. That's how you get it out of bypass. So we're gonna come out the back, outside, and I'm gonna quickly try to climb the ladder one-handed, just so I can show you guys the roof. Set you guys down here. Alright, so those Rhino racks I was telling you, so all the equipment for that is in that box. That's like that for a canoe or kayak or whatnot. You got the Wi-Fi thing up over there. Looks like it already has the Wi-Fi thing. And then if you see way back there, you do have panels. They are plugged in. Usually these lights aren't the best at charging, but it's working. It's charging. If I were to unplug the camper, we'll do that now so you can see that it will be charging. So let me set this phone down, come down again. There you go. So we'll just quickly unplug it so you can see. And then you can also see, this is what a 30 amp plug looks like. I mentioned plugging it at home. Not a lot of people have 30 amp service at home, but they do make 30 to 15 or 20 amp adapters to plug it in on a regular household outlet. If you were going to do that, just use the bare minimums. What happens a lot is people trip breakers at their house because they're overdrawing their appliances. No, I'm down here. I'm here. Yep. There we go. So it is working. It's telling me it's charging and whatnot. Yeah. Sorry if I sound a little out. It's a little difficult to climb those ladders with one hand holding the phone. So that's pretty much it for your virtual walkthrough on your No Bout. It's a little bit longer than normal. I wanted to make sure you got all the information you guys needed. Like I said, we're kind of learning together, but all the appliances are the same throughout the campers. It's just the location of everything is different. So, but yeah, I hope you folks really do enjoy this camper. I like these No Boundaries. They're really nice. I hope you guys really do too. I hope you found the video informative. And until next time, goodbye.